New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you here today. This is New Thought Today on the New Thought Media Network. Rev Z is on vacation. Honestly, I don't know where he ended up going. That's the truth of the matter. His son was getting bounced around on airplanes all over the East Coast, and they were trying to get away for a couple of days, and I know they ended up somewhere, but I'm not sure where. So we wish him all the best. He sent me a text, told me he landed safely, but still didn't tell me where he is. That's cool. I like that. Good for a person to get away once in a while. I, however, am here today, and if you were paying attention to the splash screen at the beginning, you know that we've got some great guests with us today. Yep, Robyn Rice and Reverend Gil Olmstead are with us today. We're going to bring those wonderful beings in just a moment. Before that, though, we did want to remind you that this is a program that is specifically designed around having a conversation of how this wonderful philosophy of new thought can serve the evolution of humanity's growth and evolution and help to create a world that works better for everyone. And that means that we would really like your input. And I just realized that I'm in a different brand today, so I don't have all my banners. Excuse me for that. We would really like to hear your input on what you'd like to see on this program, who you'd like to hear from on this program, and maybe how you'd like to participate on this program. Please send us an email, ministertalk@ntmedia.org, or, of course, please comment in the comment box wherever you are. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit any button that you want to hit. Maybe share this with a friend or a family member, or maybe not. You know, if you're not enjoying yourself, please share this with somebody you don't like. Either way, it'll all work out just fine. All right, I'm Rev BRZ. Let's get into our program. We've got a couple of wonderful beings with us today, all the way from California. On the right of your screen, I believe, as you will see it, is Reverend Gil Olmstead, and a longtime professional practitioner and dear friend, also his beautiful wife, Reverend, well, soon to be, eventually you're a Reverend, right? Robyn Rice Olmstead. We make everybody a reverend around here. Welcome aboard.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Oh, it's a big day for me.
It is. Yes. Thank you. We're glad you guys are here today. We're very grateful you're here. And the conversation really is, we'll kind of get into the exact reason of why I've invited you onto the program today. For anybody that's paying attention on the network, yes, we're going to do a little bit of self-promotion today too, because I'm so grateful that you're going to be a regular voice around here. The two of you together are going to be a regular voice around here. So the first thing I'd love to do is introduce you to the audience and let people know. Share with us each just a little bit. How did you come to New Thought, and how did you come to this amazing philosophy? And then we'll dive in from there. Please.
All right. You want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll start since I got here first.
There we go.
Basically, New Thought for me was a no-brainer. I was raised in a family that was very eclectic, and my grandmother was devout Catholic, and I mean so much so that nobody could figure out how she had children, because they were sure she was a saint and could never have had sex in her life. And my mom went to Catholic school, which got that out of her, and she immediately became anything but Catholic. So when it got to me, I got to go through the Catholic process, and then at one phase, my mom was Jewish, so we had a mezuzah on the door, and we do that, and then she became Buddhist, and so pretty much I was in the flow with all of it. And so New Thought for me was just the next step. I mean, it didn't happen that easily because I had an issue with God. So when I first heard, I started at Agape in Southern California, and I went there and I was like, oh, this is good. And then he said God, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta go. But and I didn't go back for like 7 years. But then when I did go back, I mean, I was really able to understand it a little bit more and equate it with, everything. That God wasn't just one name, and I was hooked. I was there.
Right on. You would not be the first or the 100th person that has told me they had an issue with the word God, and I'll raise my hand to that too, right, folks? How many of us out there had an issue with the word God, and found this philosophy after a journey? So let's continue. Reverend Gil, tell us a little bit.
All right. So I grew up in the United Methodist Church and was very involved and had a call to ministry. And so I did youth ministry and campus ministry, and then eventually pastored a church for about 7 years. And at the end of that process, when my life was crumbling around my ears and everything was going on, I met Robyn, who said, oh, you should, I'm going to take you to Agape. Actually, let me just take you to Agent first, which Association of Global New Thought. So, let's just take you and throw you in with everybody for the first thing, which is what she did. And from there, I went, after a little while. Well, actually, then she signed me up for foundations class, which I had to take. So after a couple of weeks of that, I went, this is where my ministry is. This is what it's about. And it really, and the funny part was then we went and visited one of my good friends who still is a United Methodist minister. And then I found all the books on his shelf that I had discovered in New Thought. Other people knew about this already. So anyway,
that is short. I love that. I love that version. That is a great way to get here. And I'll say it again and again and again. I am personally incredibly grateful that you are here, both of you, and that you're saying yes to this amazing, wonderful ride that is New Thought Media Network. You've already got some fans. Our dear Fiona over in Switzerland is listening in today. And if you don't, you already know Diego. Diego is always on the job and ready to he's already inviting you on to more shows. So.
We love Diego.
So, we all love Diego.
And we love Rev Skip too.
That's right. That's true.
Yes. And that is a great show. So, and we're grateful to have you here today. So let's talk a little bit about, where is your ministry today? Because it's nice to have an idea of how we got here, but really what we're about, what the network is about, is how do we take this amazing philosophy and put it into practice and really use it to support ourselves, to support the organizations that we serve, the communities that we're a part of, and really create the life we all truly desire. Now, you folks are focused primarily in what you're going to do here. I shouldn't say it that way, right? So let me ask the question a different way. What is your vision of how New Thought can serve evolution, humanity's evolution?
My vision is really of people coming more into themselves. And from that space of really being okay with who I am, they're able to expand into loving other people in a different way. And that's the bottom line for me of how New Thought has shifted my world and how I see it shifting the world as a whole.
Yeah, mine is similar. I think that I've always, my mission has always been to support people in living into their infinite potential and knowing that that's all right there, that it's not that they don't have a checklist of things they have to do to get there necessarily, but it's just being able to settle in and stand in that place of knowing that you are enough and you do have gifts, and that we each come with gifts to share on the planet.
Wonderful. Yeah, beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. This is what we're about, folks. Bringing these gifts and sharing the love that is inherent with us. So we're not going to bury the lead any longer. You guys have waited long enough, right? You have a show. You have a new show that's coming on the network. Actually, I've been teasing. All right, I've been teasing people since I think September that you guys were coming to the network. So
yeah, we have too. So don't feel bad.
And before and we're going to do it one more time, folks, before we tell everybody the details about your program, I also want to let everybody know and say thank you specifically for the work the two of you have been doing behind the scenes to support this network. And that's not really what we're going to talk about. It's not what we're here for today. And the work you have been doing has been invaluable thus far. And I know, and I just sense that there is a deep sense within me that we are all meant to journey together in this thing called life, and in this thing called ministry, and in what becomes next along this journey of enlightenment, if you will. And so again, I'm incredibly appreciative of everything you've done behind the scenes over the last several months. It's really even more exciting to see it coming into form and to see the flowering of that work and the blooming of that work. So now I'm going to get out of the way and let you tell everybody a little bit about what your show is. Or should we watch the video first, or we should let you talk about it first?
Let's watch the video.
Yeah, let's do the video.
Okay, let's watch the video. So this is a little something we put together, folks. You'll see more and more of this type of work here, and this will give you a little bit of an idea of what's going to happen.
Hi, I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil.
And January 5th on New Thought Media Network, we will be rocking the love.
That's our show.
It's a show about relationship.
Well, it's really more than that.
Okay, you tell them what it's about.
All right, I will. It's about relationship, but not only the romantic kind. It's about relationship to your health, to your career, to your family, to your finances, your food.
Basically to everything. So it's really about you.
And what's love got to do with it?
And what's love got to do with it?
Everything.
Join us Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time.
And that's 12 p.m. Pacific.
And find out more. And clearly it's a show about relationship.
So I'll add the final line. That's yes, dear. Yes, dear. That's what it's about.
Yes, dear. That's what it's about. I saw a great meme recently that said, if your wife ever begins a sentence with "when you get around to it," just get your ass up and go take care of it right away. I've been married long enough to know that, yeah, it's that's a healthy relationship advice, in my opinion. So,
indeed.
So tell us a little bit more. It's about relationships, right?
It is. It is really. Our whole thing is about inspiring people to live into their relationships, which, as it turns out, are everywhere around them. Everywhere around us. There's nowhere you go that you aren't in relationship with someone, something, some organization, whatever it is.
Yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, if we can allow ourselves to work into some of that, then look at what does it mean to be in a relationship? How do we do it? How do we love other people around us? How do we what am I trying to say? How do we help people? How do we build others up? How do we build ourselves up so that it's a positive experience being around? Yeah. And so there you go. So being around me, for me, sometimes isn't a very positive experience. So I have to figure out how to shift that.
I'll second that.
You'll second that, okay.
Well, and I think, when we were talking about, how do we get into New Thought and all that, that was the nice, easy version. There was a lot of kicking and screaming during that point, at least for him. Oh
yeah, your 7 years didn't count.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, and it's those things that stop us that we're not even aware of. And so it's really about just a deeper dive into what that is and what's keeping us, how we interact. I think for us, having kids and God kids that we live with is one of the biggest teachers. Anyone with kids knows that it's one of the biggest teachers. And as you know, Robert, we're just going into teenager with the second godson. So we have 2 teenage boys at home. Woohoo. And an opportunity to practice all that we preach and to really, I have learned to my relationship with no, how quickly it will come up. Like I hear myself say no to them before they've even finished the question, almost sometimes. And like really just being able to take a step back and be and hear and listen. So we're going to explore a lot of different things, a lot of different relationships, and just, all kinds of things and people that are doing this kind of work. And for us, the bottom line to it was, at the end of the day, it's love. You've got to hit the relationship with love, whatever it is. So that's how we came up with Rockin' the Love.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And I got a feeling this show is going to rock out in that regard, because as we're talking about, right, folks, we have that opportunity to be in relationship with every aspect of our lives. And therefore the door is wide open for this program, for you to bring in anybody you really want and explore how a healthy relationship with our body temple, with our mental body, a healthy relationship with the pharmaceutical industry, or with our doctors, right? How to interact with our doctors from a New Thought perspective that is building healthy relationships for us and to model that out into the world.
Yeah,
I think is huge. Now, I know for me, I think anytime somebody comes to me and says, I'd like, I'm having problems with my relationship, I think that's in our philosophy. I guess I don't like to affirm this, but proof is in the pudding. We see it a lot. People don't actually ask for help until things are a little beyond the point they want to be, until we're almost to the end of the road, as it were. But when people come to you and say, I'm having problems with my relationship, where would you steer them? Where do you support? How do you support people? What do you ask? What kind of questions do you ask them? How do you help people move away from that sense of I'm having problems with my relationship to understanding a more holistic, perhaps New Thought perspective of relationships?
Well, I don't know how exactly this fits in, but I do know from my own experience, and I have shared this with people, when I have run into issues in my relationship and I look back, I discover that I've run into issues in other relationships and other relationships before that. And the only person that's in all of those relationships is me. So for me to put it on someone else is probably not gonna help anyone, because I'm not going to get what I need, and I'm not going to help the other person, obviously. So, coming to terms with the fact that all of this is about learning about ourselves. Even the teenage kids are about learning about ourselves. I mean, they're holding up to us the mirror of where we say one thing and do another.
Yeah.
and in very positive ways sometimes, and in very negative ways. Yeah, we could share some interesting stories.
Sometimes in very frustrating ways, yes.
Yeah. So I think the advice is, the place to go is, what's really going on? What do you see as the problem? And then where is that problem coming? Where is that really coming from? Is that really something they're doing, or is that your perspective? So Robyn can speak to that more about how she has to redirect me in that sometimes.
Well, I was reading what Diego wrote up there, and where he says the programming of my previous experiences into an evolving manner of holding universal consciousness. And breaking that down, I think that's exactly it, because so much of the time we're all learning. We're all constantly learning and recreating and redesignating old ideas and things like that. And I think that, as we stand in that kind of a consciousness, we're able to really look and see what serves us and how it serves us. So I don't know that I have a straight up question that I ask. I was trying to think, like, when I'm sitting with someone in a practitioner session, is there something I will ask? But it's always kind of tailored to the person or to the situation. But I think that is the goal, to really at least just acknowledge or discover your patterns. It's like, I feel like we're always in a place of either recovery or discovery. We're like recovering from what we think, or what was been handed down to us, or we're letting it go and discovering that there's a new possibility or a new way to frame it or a new way to use it or mold it, or however you go forward with it. But that's my short answer.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Recovery or discovery. Right. And it does, you speak it well. It always comes back to, okay, what am I going to do with what's going on? Especially, I've got a couple teenagers at home too. Yeah, as you guys know, and they're very adept. They've been brought up in this philosophy. They're very adept at how this all works, and how to be able to lovingly, but sometimes very, very directly say, that's out of alignment. That's out of integrity. That's not what we really teach, is it?
Right.
And those are rich conversations, because they bring all of us to, I believe, a greater space of well, as you say, recovery or discovery. And that reminds me very much of, I forget where we all get this one, but it's always a cry for love, or a cry for because of a lack of love, or love, right? A cry to share more love, or a cry that I need more love. Mm-hmm. All the different interactions that we go to. And so when I get hit with these things, I think I have to ask myself, am I feeling the love? Am I feeling love, or am I feeling like love's being withheld? Am I feeling like I'm striving after the love, or am I feeling like the love's flowing through and as me?
Yeah, and that's where I go to a lot of times, from Byron Katie. Like, if I'm like, I'm not feeling loved, I'm this, they don't love me, I have to go, wait, is that the truth? Is that the truth? And inevitably it's not. And,
So I just want to share part of an experience we had. We had a friend who was very sick, and we were explaining to our godson, since he knew her, that what was happening, and we were going to see her, and we weren't sure what was going to happen, and blah, blah, blah.
But that it didn't look good.
It didn't look good.
Right.
And he takes a beat, and then he looks at us and he goes, what are you talking about? What? I'm going to pray for her. I'm going to pray for a miracle. And we had to stop ourselves and go, oh.
Yep.
Exactly. And that was a very insightful and teaching moment, and a moment to, which which actually, turned into something really beautiful for him and for the whole situation. And I appreciate that. But it caused, it's the fact that if we play in an arena where we think we have the answers, where we think we've got it figured out, then we're not able to discover the beauty of what's there.
Right. Yes. Oh, I agree. Folks, you're listening to New Thought Today. This is Reverend Gil Olmstead, Robyn Rice-Olmstead, professional practitioner extraordinaire, and you're watching New Thought Today. We're going to take a quick commercial break, tell you about a couple of things coming up on the network, and say thank you to a couple of people that make all of this happen, and allow our beautiful guests to grab a drink and give themselves a quick stretch. Stick with us. We'll be right back here on New Thought Media Network. This is New Thought Today. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. And a special thanks to Hefferland Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
And we're back with more of New Thought Today here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm Rev Robert Brzezinski. Reverend Elzia is on vacation. If you're just joining us, we've got with us today Reverend Gil Olmstead and his amazing wife, Robyn Rice-Olmstead, practitioner extraordinaire. Your title is just going to keep getting longer and longer today, Robyn. And we've been talking about a bit about relationships, and part of that is because these two lovely, wonderful beings are joining us on the network. And now, remind everybody again, when's the program and how long is it? Give us all the details again.
Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Mountain Time.
From 1 to 2. We will be rocking the love every week.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about relationships. We'll have guests on to talk about different topics, to explore different things. And our goal is to have some fun and to also just have people have a chance to have a place to explore some questions.
We'll honor other people that are out there doing the work and rocking the love in the world. and all kinds of good stuff. And we welcome any kind of comments or feedback or ideas you have as well. You can feel free to send it to us if you want to see something on the show.
Yes.
We're open. We're open at the top.
So that's Rockin' the Love, the Joy of Relationships, Wednesdays, noon Pacific, 1 Mountain, right here on the New Thought Media Network, folks. Please come and join us. So tomorrow's your premiere episode.
Yeah.
Correct.
See, I love how these things work out, folks. We don't really rehearse these shows, so we never know exactly. But it all came together. We didn't plan this until yesterday either. So it all comes together in a way that is part of what I love about what we get to do. Not just as ministers, not just as practitioners, not just, but overall throughout our lives, when we really get tuned into this philosophy, we have the freedom to live life as it happens, and to not try to manipulate or push or and as you were saying in your earlier story with your grandson, right? Be open to the miracle, to be open to the wait. It doesn't have to go the way I think it's going to go, and if I could stay open to okay, the highest and the best is somehow going to reveal itself here. Now, to me, that's my relationship with the divine. And so that's a big part of my next question for both of you. Knowing that we all have an individual path and knowing that we all relate individually with the divine, what is it for each of you? How's your relationship? Where does your relationship with the divine feel the most connected? What's your spiritual practices that support all of that? And we're going to go to Rob. We're going to let Robyn talk first this time.
Oh, that's a good question. I think that for me, one of the I think that my go-to place with the divine is anything creativity. When I'm doing art or drama or acting or things like that I'm passionate about, I'm so connected and so in the zone. And that's the same zone that I feel like when I go to meditate. However, I don't start in the same place. I have to get to a different place, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
So I think for me, that's when I'm really doing things I'm passionate about and I'm just getting lost in that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think the my sense of the divine is that place where I really feel whole. That place where I can really feel okay in who I am. And that often comes, in a direct sense. And it also comes through the love that I experience from others, that are in my life, that hold that space for me. And yes, there are, there is the opportunity to be in prayer and to be in meditation and to do those things that I do. And those help kind of maintain this baseline where I can step out of the place where I start to get tied up in what I'm thinking. And I can allow the thinking to be done, allow spirit to handle it, and I can just move with it, because ultimately I know it's handled already. It's a matter of allowing rather than pushing to create.
I love that. The matter of the allowing sense. And I'm going to show up regardless of what shows up. I'm going to allow this to show. My journey has been that very much the same. I found that sense of revelation of being in the vision, but not being completely beholden to the vision, but knowing that the vision's pulling no matter what anyway. Mm-hmm. And I was recently in a conversation with someone, and we got to a point where it's like, it's all going to happen anyway.
Right.
It's all. So me pushing. If I find myself pushing against anything, if I find myself in resistance to anything, I got to really look at that. Now, there's things in the world that just, should be done away with. No question about that. And I'm not necessarily in resistance to those things as much as oh yeah, that's just wrong, and we all know it, and we're in a conscious agreement that no longer needs to be on the planet. That behavior no longer needs to be on the planet. But when I find myself resisting someone or some idea or any of that, as you said earlier, right? I can totally hear myself saying no to my teenagers before they even finish the sentence. Absolutely relate to that. So we get to be now in a place of allowing that says, okay, this is going to happen anyway. How do I get in line with this and either be supportive of this or stand back and say, well, I'll just witness and see how it goes for a while and see how it all works out for us.
I think that being in resistance, is the downfall for me. If I get in that place of resistance, then it's much harder. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, definitely. What you said. Because I think maybe I'm just more aware of it when in the couple's place, as you may have this with your wife. But it seems like, when he's in a place of resistance, then I'm in the place of, it's okay, surrender, come on. It's like that seesaw of like trying to balance it out, But I think that, find just being able to stop and surrender to this moment and know, even if I don't agree with what's going on or like what's going on, there's some reason it's going on, and being able to move through it,
Yeah.
And knowing that it's not all about me. I don't have I like that. Yeah, I know. The surprise I said that, because that doesn't normally come out of my mouth.
It's not all about me, but then again, it's all about me. It's
mostly about me.
And yet there's only one of us here. So,
exactly.
There we are.
There we go. Well, I love that. And yes, having the beautiful pleasure and the joy of almost 20 years of marriage now, and a couple of kids. Not that I ever set out to learn Ho'oponopono, but it just kind of becomes part of the gig. It's just part of nature at a certain point to realize that I can take every little thing and turn it into an argument or a resentment or a reason, or I can be in that place that says, okay, I'm equally in this. And I have a desire to see the long term. So, well, I don't care if I'm right or wrong, right? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Let's get on with it. Where do we got to get to? What comes next? Our dear friend Wayne is in the chat box saying family energies. Exactly, Wayne. And it to me points to, where do I want the energy to go?
Yeah, and there's a saying that a good marriage, and I would open it up to good team family, is a union of good forgivers. And that's, yeah.
I would have to say that's true, because Robyn is a really good forgiver. So
folks, I'm looking forward to this program, because I'm figuring sooner or later we're going to start hearing these stories. So these stories are going to come out, and you're going to want to be here Wednesday afternoons to check out some of but it's going to take some time. I can tell they're not going to give everything up just right here.
Oh no, not right away. We got to make sure we have something for the next week.
Well, it all depends on how he acts before the show, how we go into it. I will tell.
Oh, I love the idea. Hey, folks, we're having a good time here on New Thought today. We've got just a little bit of time left before we're going to run out of time today. And so before we do that, I would like to say again, just once more, thank you so much to the sponsors, the supporters, those that make New Thought Media Network possible. If it weren't for viewers and listeners like you, we wouldn't be able to sit here and have the fun that we do and share these insights and share these ideas and share what's real and how this philosophy can support all of us in moving forward in our lives. If you'd like to be a part of the New Thought Media Network family and like to support what we're doing here, please head on over to the website ntmedia.org/donate or click on the donate button. We use a great program called Give Butter. They're very transparent. They'll tell you all the different fees that go along with what's going on and offer you an opportunity to cover those fees or not on our behalf. It's a nonprofit built for nonprofits, and that's what we love supporting here on New Thought Media Network. So please consider a monthly donation, be a part of our committed giving program, get your name on the movie, and I seem to have lost our thank you movie here today. We showed it before. There it is. Let's say thank you one more time to all of our committed sponsors.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. And a special thanks to Hefferland Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
All right, we're back on New Thought today. I'm Rev Robert with Rev Gil Olmstead and Robyn Rice-Olmstead, practitioner extraordinaire. I don't have another word to add on this time, but we love you, and we're so grateful that you're with us. Now, before we go today, I do want to talk a little bit about the website, and I know it's kind of difficult. Let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger. I know it might be hard if you're watching to read that, but I love
it. You pulled this up.
What you say here. Live inspired as real people creating real community devoted to a personal and global transformation. We know wholeness, oneness, and absolute goodness while embracing divine expansion in each other in the world. We celebrate the divine wholeness of mind, body, soul, and heart, generating intended and spontaneous opportunities for art, music, movement, study, meditation, and play. Anchored in the teaching of New Thought ancient wisdoms, Live Inspired is courageous community inspiring transformational excellence that celebrates divine perfection. I love what you have created there, and I love that it's really in a lot of ways focused around community, and I can sense the playfulness, the vibrancy, the love, I don't want to say childish, but childlike approach to how to use spirituality. And it feels to me like a line that I love, creating the life we truly desire. So share with everybody, please, a little bit more. How did Live Inspired come into being, and what a big vision you guys are holding for your ministry, and perhaps maybe your relationship with the network a little bit as well.
Well, Live Inspired has been in my heart for a long time, and we actually first launched Live Inspired in 2013, and we had gatherings and different things, and over time it's sort of morphed. It's still that same basis, but we have done multiple workshops with other centers and help their leadership and their people to come together and to basically create community within the community. And now, we're branching out with Rockin' the Love under that as sort of this idea of relationship being key to everything. And it's still all about building community, because wherever we can improve those things, we come up with more community. And so we've been on this journey for a while.
And that's part of why, I'll be truthful, I don't go out recruiting people. I'm not stalking people to be on this network. But when I saw Robyn was doing another show, there was a part of it. It's like, oh, I so want you guys on on this network as a part of this, because there is that sense of community. And if anything, there's no question we were on the verge of moving so many places. I shouldn't say everybody, but so many communities, physical communities, were on the verge of moving into the virtual world. Then so many communities were forced into living in the virtual world. And there's no denying, there's no going back from this experience of building and being community in the virtual world. And I'm personally excited because that's part of, from my perspective, part of who you've been all along.
Yeah.
And now you're going to get to share it more.
Yeah. It's very exciting. That's very exciting. Just being able to play in the global arena and yeah, it's really exciting. I love it.
It is. It's fun. And, I have been a believer that, and we're seeing it now, like you said, with the whole change, that this 18th century model of what we call church has run its course in many ways.
It's only a few hundred years old. Yeah.
Yeah. We're still trying to get everybody to come to a central place one time a week to do the same thing. And some of that is good and some of that's fine, and that's good for some people, but there's a whole lot of other pieces and ways that people want to be engaged, or that they're willing to be engaged, and virtually is one of them, and with other kinds of gatherings is another. And so this is a great way to reach beyond that box, if you will.
I also think, besides that, there's a new awareness. Well, I think before the pandemic, but it's definitely since the pandemic, there's a new awareness of sacredness and connection, and that it doesn't have to be, somebody preaching from the stage at, on Sunday mornings to be sacred. It's like just breathing can be sacred. And so really being able to just be aware and embody that, and envelop that in different ways, I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I have long held that if there is only one thing in the world we should be religious about, and that is our own individual experience of spirituality. And I come from that background that God stood for the great outdoors.
Mm.
And there was really no better way to get closer to God than at the top of a mountain, or in a deep part of a slot canyon, or in the desert, or somewhere in the great outdoors. That was where I found my experience of the sacred and of the divine, and was able to then translate that into this philosophy and then this philosophy explained a lot of things, right? Like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand why that might have happened. So again, we're back to relationship, folks. It's all about you, and you and your relationship to yourself.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, and I think I think everybody has their own space where that happens. Robyn prefers the Hyatt for that same kind of spiritual experience. So
you're saying you're there's no tents or sleeping bags or sleeping cots,
there's
or
none, but
just a bed. just depends. I just can find it in different places. It doesn't always have to be tent.
You can be on a beach out in front of our beautiful place.
Yeah, no, it's just I like to embody it all.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Self-care can include fresh made guacamole on the beach with a masseuse and
absolutely.
Yes, exactly. Wonderful. Folks, we're almost running out of time here on the New Thought Media Network today. This is New Thought Today. I'm hanging out with Reverend Gil and Robyn Rice, both Olmsteads. Now, how long have you two been married now? Because I know it's been long enough to know better. No, I don't want to say it that way.
Pardon me. We're going on, as you mentioned, 20 years.
20 years in April.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our little logo there, you might have noticed, says since 2000, which was when we met. So, we've been together 21, 22 years, but we're heading into our 20th wedding anniversary, and that's exciting.
Wonderful.
And we're really looking forward to this. We've kind of got a layout of our first few shows and what we're going to do and what we're going to talk about. We can share a little of that if you'd like.
Oh, please. Yes.
All
Sneak
right.
peek time. Sneak peek time.
So first one is, what's love got to do with it, which is we've sort of teased in that other one. And then the second show is going to be a Who's at the Party, which is that show where you start to realize who you're taking with you wherever you go. And
the voices in your head, the former people that told you could or you couldn't, whatever it looks like.
So we're going to talk about discovering old stories there. And we're going to go into the intentional relationship, which is, choosing. You have the choice. We have the choice of how we show up, how we do it. And then our fourth show, which I personally love the title to, is Decoding the Madness. So, so it's an interesting journey we live in, and often we feel like there's this madness, but if we can move into the mystery and the magic of it, it starts to change the whole thing.
Yeah. As long as there's no math involved with decoding the madness, I think I'm in. But if it's a math thing, I don't know.
Well, and we may be broadcasting from your bedroom for that third show from your
okay, folks, that's going to that's going to take a little explanation. Yes, exactly. So we're not that kind of a network. Please share our videos and share what we're doing, but don't look forward to that piece. No, what Robyn's talking about is we're all going to be together, God willing, consciousness willing. We're all going to be together in Southern California in just a couple of weeks for the Centers for Spiritual Living annual Spiritual Living Convention this year, happening in Indian Wells, California. New Thought Media Network will be there. We will be broadcasting live, and you will see many of our broadcasts will be broadcast from a hotel room suite, not my bedroom, but the living room of the hotel suite there in Indian Wells. I think it'll be fabulous to be able to do your show live from there. And I can't wait to see whose arm you twist to be your guest that week.
Yeah, me too.
We've been thinking about that. Yeah.
This whole week, folks, we're going to have several of our show hosts will be there. Several of our shows will be broadcasting live from this convention, and we're going to be doing some extra live broadcasts from around the convention. It will be a week full of great guests, and I know you two have the clout to pull in whoever you want. So it'll be exciting to see who you get.
All right.
It'll be fun.
We'll take that.
All right. Well, folks, we're going to get out of here. This is New Thought Today. I'm Rev Robert again. Prayers for Rev Z as he travels about the world somewhere on a wonderful vacation. He told me he was going somewhere with a beach. So you talking about beaches, he's talking about beaches. Man, soon. Maybe we'll all meet on a beach somewhere in a couple of weeks in California. Now we're going to be inland. Anyway, we're going to get out of here before I open my mouth and say something else I shouldn't. Until then, folks, thanks for being a part of the New Thought Media Network. We'll see you again real soon. Until then, peace.
Bye.
Thank you.